The rain fell in relentless sheets, drumming against the cobblestones of the narrow alley. The city was alive with the cacophony of hurried footsteps, car horns, and distant conversations, yet amidst the chaos, a faint, plaintive cry struggled to be heard. It was a sound so soft, so fragile, that most ignored it, mistaking it for the wail of the wind. Emma Collins, a waitress at a local diner, was trudging home after a long, grueling shift. Her umbrella had given up the fight against the wind, leaving her soaked to the skin. As she turned into the alley, seeking a shortcut to her apartment, the cry reached her ear. She froze, her breath clouding in the cold night air. "Hello," she called out, her voice echoing off the brick wall. No answer came, just another faint whimper. Her heart quickened. Abandoning the remains of her umbrella, she followed the sound, her sneakers splashing through puddle. Near a stack of soggy cardboard boxes, she saw it, a small bundle wrapped in a threadbare blanket, shivering and wet. Emma's hands trembled as she crouched down, gently pulling back the corner of the blanket. The infant, no more than a few weeks old, blinked up at her with wide, tear-filled eyes. Its tiny fists flailed weakly, and its face was red from crying. "Oh my God," Emma whispered, "who would leave you here?" The baby's cries grew louder as she lifted it into her arms, holding it close to share her body heat. The child's skin was icy, and its fragile frame seemed far too small for its age. Without another thought, Emma pulled off her coat and wrapped it around the baby, shielding it from the rain. Emma burst into her apartment, still clutching the baby. The space was modest, a single room with a kitchenette, a worn sofa, and a bed tucked into the corner. She placed the baby on the sofa and rushed to turn on the heater, her mind racing. "She need to get warm, that baby," she muttered, searching for something dry and soft. Finding an old towel, she carefully dried the baby's tiny hands and feet, then swaddled it in a fleece blanket she pulled from her closet. The baby had stopped crying, its exhaustion overtaking its hunger. Emma sat down beside it, her heart breaking as she studied its delicate features. Who would abandon such a helpless creature? And why? She grabbed her phone and dialed 911. As the line connected, she hesitated. What would happen to the baby if she called the authorities? Would it end up in the cold, impersonal system of foster care? The thought made her stomach churn. 911, what's your emergency? A calm voice answered. Emma opened her mouth, then closed it again. Hi, never mind. Sorry. She hung up, her heart pounding. She looked down at the baby, who was now sleeping peacefully. What am I supposed to do with you? She whispered. The next morning, Emma took the baby to the local clinic. Dr. Patel, a kind-hearted pediatrician, examined the child thoroughly. Malnourished and slightly dehydrated, he said, frowning. But otherwise, this little one seems okay. How did you find the baby?
Emma explained the previous night's events, omitting her hesitation to call the authorities. Dr. Patel nodded thoughtfully. You should report this to the police, he advised. This child deserves to have their parents found, or at least to be placed somewhere safe. Emma nodded, but her resolve wavered. She couldn't shake the feeling that fate had placed this baby in her arms for a reason.
Instead of going to the police, she spent the next few days canvassing the neighborhood. She showed people a photo of the baby, hoping someone would recognize it or know something about its parent. She visited shelters, churches, and community centers, but no one had any answers. As the days turned into a week, Emma grew more attached to the baby. She named her Lily, after the white lilies used to grow in their garden. Lily's cries softened as she grew comfortable in Emma's care, and her tiny smiles began to melt the walls Emma had built around her heart. One evening, while rocking Lily to sleep, Emma's own memories surfaced. She had been abandoned, too, left on the steps of a church, when she was just a few months old. She had spent her childhood bouncing between foster homes, never feeling truly wanted. Emma staring at an old photograph of herself as a child, her face a mix of pain and reflection. Perhaps that was why she couldn't let Lily go. She knew the pain of being discarded, the longing for a place to belong. She vowed to give Lily the love and stability she had always craved. But reality loomed large. Emma worked long hours and barely made enough to cover rent and grocery. She couldn't afford daycare, let alone the medical expenses that might arise. The thought of losing Lily, of her being taken away, gnawed at her soul.
Emma crying alone after a particularly hard day, her love for Lily pushing her to keep going. A kind elderly neighbor giving Emma baby clothes, a quiet moment of community support. A moment of pure joy as Lily laughs for the first time, breaking through the tension.
One morning, Emma was jolted awake by a knock on her door. She opened it to find Detective Harper, a middle-aged man with kind eyes, standing on her threshold.
"We've been investigating the case of an abandoned baby," he said, holding up a badge. "Word around the neighborhood is that you might know something." Emma's heart sank. She invited him in, clutching Lily protectively as she explained everything. Detective Harper listened carefully, then handed her a card. "You did the right thing by caring for her, but you'll need to cooperate with Child Protective Services. They'll want to ensure she's safe and try to locate her family."
Emma nodded, her throat tight. The thought of losing Lily was unbearable, but she knew she couldn't hide forever. A few days later, Detective Harper returned with news. Lily's mother had been found, a young woman named Carla, who had been living on the street. Carla had fled an abusive relationship and left Lily in the alley out of desperation, hoping someone would find her before it was too late. Emma's emotions warred within her, anger at Carla for abandoning Lily, but also deep compassion for her plight. She agreed to meet Carla, wanting to understand the woman who had brought Lily into the world.
The meeting took place at a community center. Carla was thin and pale, her eyes red-rimmed from crying. She reached for Lily, but stopped herself, looking at Emma with pleading eyes. "I didn't want to leave her," Carla whispered. "I thought she'd be better off without me. I was scared." Emma's heart ached. She saw herself in Carla, the same fear, the same desperation to do what was best despite the odds. A reflective moment where Emma looks at Lily, then at Carla, silently deciding to help. In the weeks that followed, Emma worked with social services to find a solution. Carla entered a rehabilitation program and began receiving counseling and job training. Emma visited her regularly, bringing Lily along so they could bond. Emma staring out her apartment window, realizing she can't let Lily go completely. Shared custody agreement, a lawyer sliding papers across the table as Emma and Carla exchanged tentative smiles. Carla holding Lily for the first time since the alley, both of them bathed in warm light. Emma, Carla, and Lily at a park, a tentative but joyful moment of unity. Emma and Carla cheering as Lily takes her first wobbly steps between them.
Emma placing a white lily in a vase, symbolizing new beginning. Emma revisited the church where she was abandoned, holding Lily close. Emma confronting the past breaking down, as she tells Carla about her own abandonment. A montage of Carla finding a job, her posture growing more confident with each scene. A new home, Emma, mother Carla, and baby Lily moving into a brighter, larger apartment together. A joyful celebration with a small cake and candles, Emma and Carla smiling as they watch Lily giggle. Emma writing in a journal about how Lily changed her life, her voiceover narrating the words. Carla's gratitude, Carla hugging Emma tightly, both women crying as they realize they've found family in each other. Emma, Carla, and Lily taking their first photo together, a symbol of their shared future. The church revisited, Emma lighting a candle at the church, silently thanking fate for bringing Lily into her life.
Emma, Carla, and Lily walking hand in hand down a busy street, their laughter blending with the sounds of the city. Emma writing the final words of her journal, "We found each other in the darkness, and now we're the light." For the first time in years, Emma felt a sense of purpose. She had saved Lily, but in a way, Lily had saved her too. Together, they had turned a story of abandonment into one of hope, proving that even in the darkest alleys, light could be found.